Now, there's never a quiet week at Manchester United, and the last few days have brought up many a headline. We all saw Marcus Rashford make his debut for Aston Villa in their 2-1 win against Spurs. But there was more drama after the match as Marcus posted a thank you message to the Villa faithful for his welcome, and a certain Jadon Sancho replied with simply freedom. Freedom, Crookie. Who does that look worse on? The fact that you've got these two players. Well, let's take Marcus Rashford out of it. You've got a player in Jadon Sancho who's expressing such basically distaste towards United to say...
He needs a hobby. He needs a hobby. Let's just call it what it is. He needs a hobby. Like, focus on your game, mate. Sorry, carry on. But I just...
You can tell what Angelina's
He needs to, like, painting, I don't know, maybe working on your actual footballing ability on the pitch, how to have a bit of, I don't know, a bit of self-awareness maybe. There's self-awareness.
Do you think it's disrespectful?
I think it's an absolute joke. I don't get why he's so bothered. Why is he so bitter? Like, Ruben Amorim has done nothing to you. What has this club done that's so bad? At the end of the day, he's notorious for having this track record of not being committed, showing up to things late, not taking things seriously. It's not like he's done amazing at Chelsea. I mean, what was it in the FA Cup game they were losing? He was subbed off for a 19-year-old. I think stay in your own lane, focus on what you're doing. And I think, I just don't understand it. I don't understand where it's coming from. And it's like, even if he can moan about Erik Ten Hag was honest. He came out and was honest. Ralph Rangnick called it about Sancho, 3 years ago or something? And he said about mentality and all that type of stuff. Everyone who's worked with him seems to understand that there's something missing with Jadon Sancho. And I think you're still on the Man United books. Yeah, there's this obligation to buy and you're going to sail off into the sunset, but I just don't get why he's so pressed and why he's so bothered when he is not having the best season anyway.
Angelina Crook.
Sorry.
Wow. Angelina
I just
Crook.
think it's pathetic.
She just entered the chat. She's like, I'm not having this. He needs to get a life. He needs to build some Lego. He needs to do something.
Lego, great.
Wow.
Yeah.
From a Man United perspective, should they just brush that under the carpet and keep moving? Should they take action? Should someone have a word with him? Or you like, just it's irrelevant? Like, he hasn't left and done too well? Or do you think it's a damning indictment, Crookie, that players seem to leave and keep sort of having bad, distasteful things to say about our environment, and all of a sudden when they go, they seem to celebrate that they're out of that environment, whether they're playing good or not?
Yeah, I think that probably tells you more about Jadon Sancho than it does about Manchester United. I think there was an element of bitterness about it. Obviously, he didn't feel he was treated fairly by Erik Ten Hag. I think the evidence probably stacks up in Ten Hag's favour. But I think the key phrase that Angelina used there was self-awareness. This is a guy who is paid very well. He's a multi-millionaire. He gets hundreds of thousands of pounds a week to be a Manchester United player, and he is still a Manchester United player. He's still on the books of United, albeit unless Chelsea have a complete fall from grace and end up in the bottom 5 or 6, he will be making a permanent move there. There are people who go out and work 15-hour days. You know, they might want some freedom from their day job. You don't need any freedom, mate. You get paid to do something you love. You're not doing it particularly well at this moment in time. I was speaking to Chelsea fans at Brighton at the weekend, and the vibe I got from them was that actually this is Jadon Sancho reverting to type. This is what we saw more often than not at Manchester United. He's not really pulling up any trees. So I think it's a very strange take from him.
Do you think United should take action? Like, say,
it's pointless, isn't it? Yeah. He's an irrelevant, Jadon Sancho.
He'll just tweet about it probably and just say...
He just makes it bigger.
He's not United's problem anymore, but I think, a lack of self-awareness, certainly. And it also suggests that Rashford feels bitter about the way that it ended. They've obviously had private conversations that have now almost been brought into the public domain. But again, the body of evidence suggests that for the past 18 months, Marcus Rashford, for a multitude of reasons, has not been performing. So it's not the club treating him harshly. It's him letting himself down, as it was with Sancho.
Ryan, what did you make of the comments from Sancho? And we'll move on to Marcus Rashford shortly.
Do you know what? I think with something like Jadon Sancho, you have to ask yourself, did it shock you? Did that comment shock you? Did it surprise you? No, it didn't. It didn't shock me that he commented freedom. It didn't surprise me, which leads into the fact that we all know that he's got a bad attitude. We all know he's not been training well. We know why he's not playing for Manchester United at the moment, why he's gone out to Dortmund. They've not kept him. They've not decided to keep him. Now he's gone out to Chelsea, put the money in the bag at the end of the season. Thank you very much. It didn't shock me. It didn't surprise me that he's put the word freedom. It sounds very in line to what we already know about his character. So leave him to it. Let him comment on Marcus Rashford's post. It really didn't bother me.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm with you guys. I don't understand what he was trying to get at. Look, in their personal lives, clearly, like you say, they obviously express views that they can't wait to get out there. But to bring that into the public domain, when you are, like you say, still partly paid by Manchester United, and you're trying to make a new career for yourself, I don't know what you think's going to happen. And for me, I just think sometimes as a fan base, I don't know, it gets too tribal about players who really aren't just doing enough. Like, in terms of their own application. Like, Jadon Sancho has been given many a chance. He was given a lot of flexibility and support by Erik ten Hag. Do you remember when he got laid off for a little while?
Yeah.
Erik ten Hag allowed him to go back to basic. He went to Holland to go and find himself and there was probably things that are behind the scenes, again, that we're not privy to, that were private. And I support that. Yeah. And he comes back and I think he put a picture up, so you go, right, then he's ended up falling out with him because Eric's then deemed him, again, not doing what he's supposed to do, difference of opinion, fine. The way he's handled that, I seen Ahmad being mistreated by Erik ten Hag. I've seen Amari Forson start a game against Fulham over Ahmad. I've seen Mazraoui start in the number 10 position away in Europe instead of Ahmad. And Ahmad, I think, has shown, actually, now look where the two of them are. One's taken their opportunity, stayed humble and just keep working. Just keep working until such times as you get a move or you get into the team, and then you get your rewards. And I just think Jadon, he's got ability. Jadon Sancho has got ability. He's a good footballer. But what we've seen is just being a good footballer and just having ability is not enough. If you look at professional football, there's far more players that are, and I'm not disrespecting pros here, that are like average players who do all the basics and the same principles day in, day out than there are world-class players. Yeah. There's more players that walk past you in the street, wouldn't know who they are, and week in, week out, they just put it in, and that's how they become good pros, than they are top Vinicius Juniors and Jude Bellinghams and et cetera, et cetera. So that shows you the main part of being a pro, a top pro, is application. Yeah. It's application. And I just don't think people like Jadon, and I've met him plenty of times, it's not a personal attack on his character. I just think, as a pro, I don't see the burning desire inside his belly. Like when he plays, I don't see him like working with that intensity. When it's nice, but when it's gritty, when it's ugly, he doesn't rise. And I just think there's so much made about, the socks are up and he might be a little nutmeg and it's nice, he's great touch, he's techie. Like, mate, if your application is not there, I don't care how good you are. And I think that's where we're at with Jadon. I mean, Marcus Rashford, though, did make his debut rookie. What did you make of it? Straight on, I saw him leap 7 foot in the air up to Danso for a big header. Then he starts getting the ball, taking the ball. The Villa fans are up. Came on at a good point in the game, 2-0 up as well. Yeah. Looked happy. Positives. Yeah.
Let's see where he is in 7-8 weeks' time, because Jadon Sancho made quite a positive impact early on at Chelsea. So it's about maintaining that level. Obviously, he's gone there with a point to prove. He's walked into a really good club, a brilliant dressing room, well coached. Obviously, a lot to look forward to in the second half of the season, both in terms of the Premier League, the Champions League, and obviously, for me, one of the dark horses for the FA Cup when the draw was made on Monday. I certainly didn't want to see Aston Villa come out of the hat, particularly away from home. But yeah, the jury will remain out on Marcus Rashford. He's got to do it over a period of time. He's certainly got to maintain those levels all the way through until the end of the season. Otherwise, Villa won't be activating that option to buy him.
No, and we'll be back to square one again with who's going to take Marcus Rashford. Just a quick one, actually. You are sitting in front of the Marcus Rashford shirt on our set, and we do need to change it. I don't want to ask Ryan because he's going to say Garnacho straight away.
Because he's over there.
Garnacho's over there tucked away. Yeah. Does Garnacho need to be more prominent? Should that be Harry Maguire? Should that be Bruno Fernandes? Where is Bruno?
He's right behind you.
Bruno's behind me. Who are we going for this shirt?
Well, I know there's been a bit of talk in the green room about Amad Diallo, and I'm all in favour of that. But why don't we go a bit retro? Let's get the king there.
We could have seen that one coming.
It's not really in theme with the set. We haven't really got the legends.
We've got Ronaldo behind Angelina.
Do we? Oh, yeah,
How come we've got that?
You want an image. So we need an image of Cantona or a
Let's get an
shirt
image of Cantona.
Yeah, okay. Well, you come in on the weekend, get decorating, and then we can do that. That's fine.